Marika here from the Deal with Animals, a science and culture podcast about the connection and interaction between humans and other animals. I want to share with you my most recent series, Animals of the Maui Wildfires. It's filled with answers to all the questions you may have had about how animals were rescued and reunited with their families after the fires in Lahaina in 2023. My guests also share their harrowing experiences during those rescues and insights into how the fires changed their community. During this 4-part series, you'll get to know the real people of Maui Humane Society and their uplifting message of unity, compassion, and love for the human and non-human animals of Hawaii.
I can't put it into words, the way our people love each other and care for each other. And what I saw out there, it made it 1,000 times worth it. Any horrible thing I saw or encountered those moments and our people, and I would do it all over again.
Please donate to a special fundraiser we have set up for Maui Humane Society. Every little bit helps. Go to thedealwithanimals.com to donate. And listen to The Deal with Animals, Series 11, Animals of the Maui Wildfires, wherever you get your podcasts.
Kind of my mantra has been bloom where you're planted. And I look at some of the places that I've lived that maybe I didn't want to move there. I didn't have a great attitude. And it came to be a place that I really enjoyed and came to love. And by having a mindset that you're looking for the good or you're looking for the ways that you can grow, your life can change in unexpected ways and it can still be beautiful.
Welcome to Wild Development Studio. Join us as we venture into the breathtaking realm of wildlife arts and untamed adventures. With captivating stories from the field and ideas to dive into the visual arts, we'll ignite your passion for conservation. Get ready to develop something wild.
Welcome to Wild Developments, where we bridge the gap between the confines of your office to the freedom of the great outdoors. I'm your guide, Lauren, and today we're discussing the topic of running with Julia Manning. She is a passionate explorer who has driven through all 50 states, uncovering the beauty of America one road at a time. With a love for nature that began with running, Julia has created countless memories exploring the great outdoors with her kids. From birding in North Dakota to camping in the heart of California, embracing the full experience of nature. We explore the profound impact of being outdoors, discover how nature offers peace and brings gratitude through the eyes of someone who has lived and breathed these experiences across the country. Julia, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, I'm so excited to talk with you today. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. And we met through the Mic Drop workshop and took that class. That was a great class. I highly recommend anybody sign up for that VIP because that's really helped me connect with so many amazing women like yourself. Can you tell me a little bit about your background?
Yeah. So I've managed to live a whole lot of places all over the country, mostly traveling for graduate school with my husband at the time, and just life took us all over the place, and we have been able to do some amazing things. And I feel like I've had to develop a lot of resilience, and my kids as well. We've had to just learn to adjust to new surroundings and get used to new places and really take advantage of wherever we move to make the most of it.
So I see you've been to all 50 states.
Yes, we have.
What was your favorite state to be in that just felt like home? And then what is on the total opposite of that, what was kind of the hardest for you to adjust to?
Okay. I would say, well, I grew up in Arizona, so Arizona really is still home for me. I live in California now. But when I think of home, I still think of Arizona just because I love it there. The hardest place for me to adjust to, though, was when we moved to Massachusetts, and it was just kind of a volatile time in our lives. And I had just had my third baby. He was like not even a month old when we moved there. And it was the dead of winter, and it was like one of the coldest days on record that year. So it was just so many things that all came together, and I really didn't want to move there. But actually, it turns out that that is where I have really left a piece of my heart. I loved New England so much and just really embraced this magical, enchanting feeling over there in New England. And I just loved it.
It sounds like you are a warm body, having lived in Arizona and now you're in California. So I feel New England would be quite a shift for you.
It was, yeah. And we later on lived in North Dakota for a couple of years. So I have done the cold. I know how to do it, but no, I really don't enjoy it. That I would be happy to be in sunshine for the rest of my life.
Do you find it's harder to be more resilient in colder places?
Oh, that's a good question. I think that it can be. It's always hard to move to somewhere or to be somewhere that you're not happy about or you don't want to be there. And it takes some serious mental strength to overcome that and to decide that you're going to make the most of it.
What goes through your head to help you stay positive and overcome those challenges?
Um, I think probably just recognizing if I allow myself to just stay miserable or choose that I'm not going to enjoy it, then I won't. And it just feels like a waste. And so I just try to turn things around and gratitude and try to get to know the place. The sooner I can get to know the place or get out and explore and kind of put my boots on the ground, the easier it is to adjust and getting to know people. I think that it has really helped to find some good friends or friends for my kids has been a huge thing to really help you feel settled and feel like this place has some merit or maybe I don't want to be here forever but I can enjoy what experiences living here will give me now.
That's great advice. What are some ways that you like to explore in a new area?
Actually, the number one way that I explore is through running. That I've been a runner for several years, and I just get out and I run and having my feet on the ground and just kind of being able to pick whatever road I want to go on, um, really solidifies that for me that I can see, where will this take me? And what can I find going this way? Or I find a path and just see where it goes. And see how far I can run. Especially like when I'm training for marathons, it's like, well, I need to find some way to run 20 miles and I'm not going to do a 5 mile loop 4 times. So how far can I run from where I'm at? That's probably the biggest way that I learn a place and really make it feel like home is by getting to know it through running.
I find I'm the same way as you. I cannot run the same loop over and over. I have to find like something interesting to look at. Otherwise, I am like, no, this is no fun at all. What is easier for you, hills or flat?
Oh, well, I guess flat is easier, but the last place I was living, in California, we were there for about 4 years. The entire place was hills. Like you could not even leave my neighborhood without running hills. And there was something that was really satisfying in having to run some of those hard hills and getting to the top and just having a great view. Like being able to watch the sunrise was just amazing. And so I had my favorite spots that I would kind of try to time when I knew there would be a really good sunrise and be able to see, have a great vantage point or have a great view or just enjoy that. And you don't get that with flat land. Where I'm at right now is really flat. And as I've been kind of going around lately, I've been reminiscing. It's like, oh, this kind of looks like North Dakota. this is so flat here. And I feel a fondness. So I don't know. I like the challenge of hills, but it's always easier to run a flat ride.
Well, sometimes for me, the flat can be really difficult. The Flying Pig marathon, the first half is very hilly, like very hilly.
Okay.
And when you're going downhill, that I'm like a big kid, I'm going wee as I'm running
Yes.
downhill. And then the last half, it takes me several hours to do a marathon. So by the time I get to the flat part, it is the middle of the day. There are no trees, and it's just like, and you can see the city in the background, and you're like, I know I have to get there, and it looks so far away. So that flat has always been really difficult for me, but that's at the Flying Pig Marathon.
Well,
I'm
that
sure if
sounds
it was, yeah, I'm
that's
sure
just
it's just
brutal.
because there's no trees or whatever. Do you have a favorite marathon that you've done?
I have done the Mesa Marathon in Arizona. I think I've done it 4 or 5 times now. And I mean, partially just because it's home. And so it's a nice excuse to go home. And I run through neighborhoods that I grew up in and see people from growing up, and that it makes it extra special to me. But I do also believe it is such a good marathon. It's so well put together, and the crowd really comes out and supports you. And having people cheer you on when you are at your lowest, there is just nothing like that feeling of just like random people are cheering for me, like, and I'm gonna cry because I'm just so low and this is so hard, when you're
Yeah.
at your lowest. So I love the Mesa Marathon.
The community of people that come out and cheer runners on, like, first of all, if you're one of those people listening, you guys are saints. And the running community in general is just an amazing group of people. Like, I had one, it was a half marathon that I did, and my leg was hurting me and I was limping, I was crying. I thought in the last mile I was going to have to tap out. There was a woman that grabbed me by the arm and put my arm around her shoulder and walked me to the finish line. And then as soon as I crossed the finish line, found my family, she disappeared. She was like my guardian angel. Like, it's just the most amazing group of people, because everybody, it's not really, I mean, it can be competitive, but a lot of times everybody's cheering each other on and helping each other out. Do you have a running group or anything that you practice with?
I don't right now. I moved to where I'm at it's about been 9 months, and I have not found my running group yet. And sometimes places I've lived, I've had running groups, and I have done lots and lots of miles running on my own too. So I can do both. It's always nice to have a group because I won't run at night, like just safety reasons, or in the dark in the early in the morning. And so when I don't have a group, I feel very limited. Just because I want to be safe. And so I would like to find a group because it opens up I love the conversations and I love the community of runners. And they're really wonderful. I just haven't found it yet. So
You will.
I'll get there.
Yes. Do you have a favorite piece of running equipment?
Favorite piece. My Garmin watch. Just a runner's watch. That's what I use. And I have become pretty bare bones. There was a few marathons ago that I overheard some women talking that looked like they were pretty dang fast runners. And they're like, oh, yeah, you can always pick out the slower runners because they have all of this gear on them. And I looked down at myself as like, oh, like I have my running belt and I have my, my hydration belt with all my own water and things like that. And I felt very self-conscious. And after that, it was like, you know what? Maybe I'm still not a super fast runner. But it's like maybe I really can run with a little bit less stuff on me. And so it impacted me to hear them say that. So now, like, my best friend is my watch.
Okay. I did not know that about. I'm gonna have to rethink all of my things that I have on me, because I'm like, I have to have my waterproof jacket, and my hat is my go-to item
Okay.
because I don't like sunglasses because they bounce around. So the hat keeps out the sun. It also keeps out the rain if it's raining. But yeah, and I got my running belt and my, my pack with my water. So yeah, I'm going to have to try and pair it
I
out.
don't know. I guess it depends on whether you care about someone's opinion or not. And I'd like to think I don't, but in that moment I did.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you find it's been fine without all the stuff?
It has, especially like when you're doing a really good race that has good water stations, it really is enough. And I'm trying to think, I think maybe this last race, maybe I didn't run with my water. But like if I'm running a 20 miler by myself and there's not going to be water stations, yeah, of course I'm going to have to run with my hydration belts just so I have what I need.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's like, where am I going to get water? Where am I going to, I need my nutrition. So, um, you know, I still have stuff that I keep on me, kind of depending on the day.
Yeah. I always take for granted that, oh, they're going to have water stations. We did me and my friend, a half marathon in Nashville, and it was the first one of its kind. And they didn't have enough support. And there was just a table with a bunch of jugs, and the cups weren't even set out. And people are like, what do we do? This was like at mile 3. So I'm like, screw it. And I grabbed a jug and I opened it up and I'm drinking from it because I'm like, I have to drink something. And then
Oh,
the
yeah.
entire rest of the race, there was no water. I mean, there was one woman that fell out and had to be taken away in an ambulance because it was in September in Nashville. It was hot. So water is definitely important, and you can't always count on the race, unfortunately. And I don't want to like end it on a negative point. My favorite race is the Run the Bluegrass in Lexington. And
Okay.
that is along a bunch of farms with horses, and they're running right alongside you. And it is absolutely beautiful. Do you have a dream location that you would love to do a marathon at?
Oh, uh, well, I guess naturally probably the Boston. Since I lived in Boston and I did get to go cheer them on while we were there, a big group of friends would go and cheer on every year, and that was just so inspiring. Maybe someday I can run hard enough or fast enough to be able to make it to the Boston, but even just the energy that was there was so incredible as a, a what is the word I want?
A spectator?
Thank you, as a spectator. Yeah, that one.
Cool. I am familiar with what happened a few years ago, and have kind of been keeping up with it, but I've never been to the Boston Marathon. That would be really cool to see.
Yeah. You have to be pretty fast or get a special ticket from someone who has an in to be able to run it. So maybe someday I'll get there.
Cool. Now, you talked a lot about resilience. And I didn't even ask you what your speech would be when you finally get up on stage after doing the mic drop workshop. What is your topic going to be? What are you passionate about getting the word out there to people?
So for my topic or kind of my motivation idea, I really am passionate about, we talked about resilience, and I think that that is such an important thing, learning to find joy and to pick yourself back up and to just be grateful or find things that you can be positive to adjust to anything, any surrounding or any situation you're in. Um, I've kind of started working on, just the sketchings of a book. And just last fall, I was visiting some friends. We all met together in Montana and had an amazing weekend. We've been friends for about 10 or 12 years and live all over the country now. But we met together in Montana at a friend's ranch. And we were having a conversation around the campfire one night and just saying, what is something like you have learned in the last 10 years? Or, what's a way that you've grown or changed? And I didn't really have an answer. And then later, it kind of came to me that night. And it was like, kind of my mantra has been bloom where you're planted. That you can live anywhere. There's so many times that it's like, I can do anything for so long, or I can do this for, so much time. And I look at some of the places that I've lived that maybe I didn't want to move there. I didn't have a great attitude. And it came to be a place that I really enjoyed and came to love. And by having a mindset that you're looking for the good, or you're looking for the ways that you can grow, um, there's really beautiful things, and your life can change in unexpected ways, and it can still be beautiful.
Well, sign me up. I want to go to this talk. That sounds amazing.
Well, thank you.
That's really inspiring. And you're right. And I love that idea of always looking for ways to grow and continuing to bloom, and not just kind of accepting your fate and being miserable in it. That you can do something to change your outcome, and you can find the joy no matter where you are. Because a lot of us, I know, go through really difficult times, and we have to learn to enjoy the journey. Otherwise, we're going to miss our entire lives. So
Yeah. I had an experience just, it was actually just about a year ago. I've was going through some really difficult personal challenges, and I really needed to mentally ground myself, that I decided to go out for a hike. It's like, I just need to go, like, be one with nature and really, like, reset my mental state. And so I left and I went on this hike that ended up being way longer than I planned on. Because I got a little bit lost at the end. But anyway, I thought, I'm going to go hike up to this top of this hill, and I'm going to take my journal and just spend some time kind of resetting my mindset, or kind of writing things out for myself, trying to make sense and find a little bit of inner peace. And it was like, I'm going to do it right around sunset. This will be great. And there's supposed to be a swing at the top of this hill that I'd heard about, that I wanted to go see. And so I had this whole plan, like, laid out. And then as I hiked it and I got to the top, the swing was broken and I was crushed. It was so hard. It's like, oh, like, I came all this way to find this swing. This is what I really needed right now. And then, just kind of meandered a little bit, hiked a little further. And it's like, well, at least I have the sunset. But it had been a kind of a cloudy day. And it was one of those days that you didn't know whether the clouds were going to make this sunset, like, amazing, or whether they were going to totally, like, ruin the sunset. And of course, it was one of those days that the sunset really wasn't that great. And so I just felt so crushed. It's like, here I had this amazing plan and these good things were going to happen, and it all fell to pieces. And as I sat there, like, I still had my journal and kind of wrote some things out of my journal. And I just had this thought come to me, and I am a very spiritual person, and just had this idea that there are beautiful sunsets all the time. And there are beautiful moments in our life. Today just isn't yours, but yours will come. And I've had so much peace from that how could I have this really frustrating moment of feeling like everything all fell apart? And that happens in our lives, that things can all fall apart, and yet to still feel that inner peace and that moment of feeling like your moment will come, but it's not today, and that's okay. And so I've really had to carry that with me, and that has been so helpful to me as I have continued to work through some of the personal challenges I've had, to kind of figure things out and reset my life and kind of my course, and know good things are still yet to come. That sunset just hasn't, I'm still waiting for that good sunset, and I know it will come, and I can see other good things along the way.
We'll be right back. It is hot out, but fall is just around the corner. Why not plan your next New England fall foliage trip with April at yourphototravelguide.com. October 13th through the 19th, 2024, Whether you've never used a camera before or you just use your cell phone, you will have plenty of opportunities to capture some of your own postcard-worthy photographs on this tour. Let someone else do the driving so you can experience the most out of fall. This is a low-impact experience, so it is good for those who prefer not to do long hikes or if you simply want to relax. We embrace all the fall feels, tasting maple syrup, smelling the fresh baked breads, and hearing the crunch of the leaves and seeing the light dance on the trees. And for those who prefer to do it themselves for ultimate flexibility, my friend April also crafts personalized itineraries. See selfdrivenewengland.com. Link is in the show notes. Now back to the show. Stay wild. It is super inspirational. I'm in a season of my life right now where it's like all the doors seem to be closing and it's like I'm sitting here, I'm ready, I'm waiting, and it hasn't come yet. And to know it will come, you just got to be patient is very helpful. Would you say that was one of your favorite experiences out in nature?
I would, yeah, just because it was so impactful to me. And I think it's going to stay with me for a really long time.
Do you often get outside in nature with your kids?
Oh, I try to. They really put up a fight sometimes. But I have tried to get out as much as we can. And once they're out there, they enjoy it. Sometimes it's a fight to get them there. And we have I have 4 boys. And I got to the point that I realized my boys need outdoor experiences. And if I don't give it to them or, help them to have those, then they're not going to have those opportunities. And so we have started to go camping and just exploring the beautiful place that California is. That we went camping in the redwoods, and we just went camping last month, kind of along the coast. And to be able to spend time there to enjoy it rather than just drive by, it's not the same experience. And once, we get on the way home from the camping trip, they're like, Mom, that was the best thing in the whole world. That was so fun. We loved it. So
that is the best, isn't it? When they put up such a fight to get outside and then you're like, come on, I know once you get it there, you're going to love it. And then they're like, wow, that was actually really cool, Mom. Thanks. So I always love when my son's like, oh, actually, that was fun.
yeah.
There is a podcast that you guys might be interested in. It's a Golden State Naturalist. And she talks all about stuff in California. And she had an episode on beavers but it's all California based. So that might be something that you guys are really interested in and can explore some of the things that she's explored.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one. I'll definitely look into that. That sounds fun.
Yeah. Do you guys have a bucket list experience that you want to see in nature?
Oh, bucket list. I'd say there's still a few things yet that we want to see or do. As silly as it is, we have not yet seen a bear on any of our adventures. And we were camping with some friends last fall, and someone on the hike we were on, then they said, oh, there's a bear just ahead. Several people have reported seeing a bear today, or, it was actually 2 or 3. And we're like, yes, like, this is so exciting. We don't want to have a bear encounter, but just to even see one in the wild. My boys have really wanted to do that, and we didn't get to see it. They were really disappointed. So that's kind of still on our list. Maybe some point we'll find a bear. But that's something silly that we have that we want to do.
We've got Gatlinburg close to us, and they're known for their black bears. And we've been so many times. And it wasn't until last year that I finally saw a bear out in the wild. So I'm thinking of you guys and hoping you get your experience, because that'll be really cool for you. What got you interested in nature?
It probably started with running, just because it got me out in nature and really feeling that high and enjoying the beautiful things that I couldn't see any other way. And one way that I kind of got my kids into it, when we were living in North Dakota, there was about 15 minutes from where we lived to the Air Force Base. And we went up there often, because we were there for the Air Force. And I started seeing these birds on our drives. And it's like, I wonder what kind of bird that is. And so I finally looked it up and I found this app. It was a bird watching app, and downloaded it and started identifying the birds as we would drive to and from the Air Force Base. And my boy was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Mom, can I look at that? Mom, can I just look at what birds are on here? And so it kind of became a thing for a couple of years that we would look at birds and identify them, or sometimes they would just steal my phone and look at the app and just kind of peruse and like, oh, isn't this bird cool? Or Mom, listen to this bird sound. And so it's kind of been a fun, kind of little silly way that my kids briefly embraced nature, for a few years. We moved to South Korea after that, and it kind of fell apart because the bird app didn't work there anymore. But for that, for those few years, that was something really fun that we did.
It's funny how birding brings people together. and the older I get, the more I love birding. Like, we've got so many feeders in our backyard. You guys have a feeder or anything like that now in California?
I've wanted to get one. I haven't yet. I would love to. I know that my boys would enjoy it too. We just saw a pheasant last week when we were out and about, and they're like, Mom, look, that's so cool. What is that? And it was beautiful. But no, I don't have a feeder in my backyard right now. I have a really small backyard. It's just concrete. So the birds that would come would have to go a little ways to come find me.
Yeah, that's fair. What do you feel is the biggest thing that you gain from being out in nature?
Probably gratitude for the beautiful place that we live in, and that there is beauty everywhere. And we're so blessed to be out and to find it. And just the sense of peace. It really, I think, mentally can ground you, spending time in nature and just giving your mind space when you're out in space, that natural space. I think that it opens up and clears your mind as well. And that's been really rejuvenating.
Now, do you have a website or someplace where people can find you?
I do. They can find me online. I have my Instagram and probably on LinkedIn. They're probably the best places to find me. I don't have the website I have right now is really just for more personal. It's just for work, writing related things. So it'd be pretty boring, but probably my Instagram or LinkedIn would be the best.
Cool. And I will tag all of those places, Instagram and LinkedIn, in the show notes so people can find you and keep up to date and see if and when you do your public speaking. And before we go, do you have a tip for somebody that would like to connect or maybe reconnect with nature?
My tip for reconnecting with nature, I would say, don't take your phone with you. Just enjoy the time and don't go with an agenda. Sometimes just let your mind run free and allow it to take everything in.
This is great advice. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate being on here today.
Yes, and until next time, get outside and see what develops.
Thanks for joining Wild Development Studio. We hope this exploration into the world of wildlife arts and adventure has sparked a desire to get outside and connect with something wild. If you have have an adventure that's awe-inspiring, don't hesitate to share. Click the link in the description to submit your story to have it featured on our show or be a guest. Until next time, keep connecting to the wild and see what develops. The views, opinions, and statements expressed by individuals during Wild Development Studio productions do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Wild Development Studio or its affiliates. Participation in any activities, expeditions, or adventures discussed or promoted during our content may involve inherent risks. It is strongly advised that individuals conduct thorough research, seek professional guidance, and take all necessary precautions before engaging in any such activities. Wild Development Studio, its representatives, or employees shall not be held responsible for any injury, loss, damage, accident, or unforeseen incident that may occur as a result of participating in activities inspired by or discussed in our content. By choosing to engage with our content or act upon any information provided, individuals do so at their own risk and discretion.